Chosen one, pause everything, right now. This is not a coincidence, not a fleeting moment you stumbled upon while scrolling. This is a divine interruption, a sacred alert straight from the throne of heaven. Jesus himself is calling your name urgently with a message so critical it could shift the very trajectory of your life. Picture a radiant scroll unfurling in the heavens, your name etched in golden light, glowing with purpose. The Savior sees you, yes, you, standing at the edge of a destiny so profound it makes angels hold their breath. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That stirring in your soul, that whisper in the quiet moments, that unshakable feeling that something massive is about to break through. This is no ordinary message. This is your wake-up call, your divine summons to step into the life God crafted for you before the stars were hung in the sky. The urgency is real, the stakes are eternal, and the time is now. Will you answer? Your life has not been random. Every tear you've shed, every door that slammed shut, every sleepless night where fear tried to choke your faith, those were not accidents. They were divine preparations, chiseling your spirit into a vessel ready for overflowing blessings. Imagine a potter's hands, steady and sure, molding clay through fire and pressure, not to break it, but to shape it into a masterpiece. That's you, chosen one. The struggles you've faced, the financial strain, the betrayals, the moments you felt invisible, were not punishments. They were training grounds, strengthening your faith for the breakthrough God has planned. Jesus is calling you now because you're ready, not because you're perfect. He's not looking for flawless, he's looking for faithful. And you, with your battle-scarred heart and unwavering hope, are exactly who he's chosen for this moment. When he looks at you, he's chosen for this moment. This video unveils a unique truth. The fears that have held you back are not chains. They are keys to your greatest spiritual awakening. Think of fear as a locked door, one you've been too afraid to open. On the other side lies your divine purpose, your prosperous life, your God-given abundance. Jesus is standing at that door, knocking fiercely, saying, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you." Isaiah 41:10. The world has taught you to shrink from fear, to hide from it. But heaven is teaching you to face it, to walk through it, because what lies beyond is a destiny so radiant it will eclipse every doubt you've ever carried. Your fear of failure, of not being enough, of losing what little you have, those are not truths. They are lies the enemy has whispered to keep you from claiming the financial freedom, the personal transformation, the divine provision that Jesus has already signed over to your name. Let's talk about those fears for a moment. Maybe you're staring at a bank account that's dwindling, wondering how you'll make it through the month. Maybe you're haunted by a dream you've buried because it felt too big, too impossible. Or maybe you're carrying the weight of a relationship that's drained your spirit, leaving you questioning your worth. These are real, raw struggles, and Jesus sees every one of them. Picture him sitting beside you, his eyes full of compassion, saying, "I have come that you may have life and have it to the full." John 10:10. Your fears are not your reality. They are your invitation to trust him deeper. Every time you felt like giving up, you didn't. Every time you thought you were alone, you weren't. Heaven has been orchestrating your story, aligning resources, people, and opportunities to meet you at the exact moment you're ready to receive them. Let me share a story to make this real. There was a woman named Sarah, a single mother in her late 30s, living in a small apartment in Ohio. She worked 2 jobs, barely scraping by, her dreams of starting a community center for kids long buried under bills and exhaustion. Fear was her constant companion, fear of failing her daughter, fear of never breaking free from the cycle of lack. One night, in tears, she prayed a simple prayer. Jesus, if you're there, show me I'm not forgotten. The next day, a stranger at her coffee shop job overheard her talking about her dream. This stranger, a retired teacher, connected Sarah with a local grant program. Within months, Sarah's community center was funded, not by her effort alone, but by divine provision. Today, her center serves hundreds of kids, and Sarah walks in a peace she never thought possible. Her fear became her doorway to abundance, and Jesus was the one who unlocked it. If Sarah's story stirs something in you, if you feel a spark of hope, then this message is landing exactly where it's meant to. Jesus is urgently calling you to stop worrying, to stop letting fear dictate your choices. He's saying, "The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing." Psalm 23:1. Your life is about to shift from survival to overflow, from scarcity to a prosperous life. But you have a role to play. Faith isn't passive. It's active, bold, and obedient. Right now, Jesus is inviting you to take specific, practical steps to align with the divine breakthrough He's prepared. These aren't vague ideas. They're clear, actionable moves you can start today to step into your destiny. First, write down one goal for this week that scares you. Maybe it's applying for that job, starting that business, or even forgiving someone who hurt you. Put it on paper, make it real, and pray over it daily. Second, reach out to one person you've been avoiding, someone you need to encourage, forgive, or reconnect with. A single phone call or message can shift your heart and theirs, opening doors you can't yet see. Third, start one project you've delayed, even if it's small. Write the first sentence of that book, sketch the logo for your business, or research that course you've been eyeing. These steps are your declaration to heaven that you're ready for your faith journey to become a testimony of personal transformation. These 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, and starting a project, are your sacred commitments. They're not random. They're divine instructions to move you from fear to favor. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't need all the answers or resources right now. As you take these steps, Jesus promises, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." 2 Corinthians 12:9. Your obedience is the key that unlocks the storehouse of heaven's abundance. If this message is stirring your soul, if you're feeling the urgency of Jesus' call, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks. Your gift helps us spread this message of divine provision to more chosen ones like you, building a community of faith and overflow. But here's where it gets deeper. Your fears aren't just obstacles, they're signposts pointing to your divine purpose. Think of David facing Goliath. His fear wasn't a weakness. It was the fuel that propelled him to pick up those stones and sling them with faith. Your financial struggles, your doubts, your moments of feeling unseen, they're not here to stop you. They're here to show you what you're made of. Jesus is calling you to stop seeing your fears as enemies and start seeing them as invitations to trust Him. Imagine a golden key in your hand, etched with the words, "Fear not." Every time you face a fear with faith, you turn that key, unlocking another layer of God's plan for your prosperous life. You might be wondering, why now? Why is this message so urgent? Because heaven operates in divine timing, and this is your appointed moment. Picture a clock in the spiritual realm, its hands aligning perfectly for you. The delays, the detours, the moments you thought God forgot you, they were all part of His strategy to position you for a breakthrough that will leave no doubt of His power. Jesus is saying, now is the time for action, for boldness, for stepping into the abundance I've promised. Your faith journey is about to become a testimony that will inspire others, a living proof that God's provision is real, tangible, and unstoppable. As you take those 3 steps, writing your goal, reaching out, starting your project. You're not just acting, you're aligning with a divine flow. Imagine a river of blessings, its waters sparkling with opportunities, favor, and wealth creation. Your obedience is the boat that carries you into that current. You don't need to paddle furiously, you just need to steer in the flow, trusting that Jesus is steering you toward your destiny. Every step you take in faith sends a signal to heaven. I'm ready for my spiritual awakening. I'm ready for my overflowing blessings. If you're feeling this truth resonate deep in your spirit, let the world know. Type, "I am answering Jesus' call" in the comments below. Let your declaration echo in the heavens, joining thousands of chosen ones who are stepping boldly into their divine purpose. Your comment isn't just words, it's a prophetic act, a sign that you're claiming the prosperity, peace, and personal transformation Jesus has for you. But what if the fear you're facing is the very doorway to your divine provision? Stay with me, because the next part of this message will show you how to walk through that door with unshakable faith. Chosen one, let's step deeper into this sacred moment. You're standing on holy ground, where the whispers of heaven are becoming louder than the noise of your fears. Jesus is not just calling you to act, he's inviting you to see your life through his eyes, to recognize that every fear you've faced is a doorway to a destiny so vast it can only be measured by eternity. Imagine a vast horizon stretching before you, painted with colors of hope, purpose, and divine provision. That's where you're headed, not because you've earned it, but because Jesus has declared it over your life. Your fears, those moments of doubt, those nights you questioned if you'd ever break free, are not dead ends. They're divine invitations, each one beckoning you to trust him more, to lean into the promise that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Let's make this practical. You've already committed to 3 sacred steps: writing down a goal that scares you, reaching out to someone you've avoided, and starting that project you've delayed. These aren't just tasks, they're spiritual acts, each one a key turning in the lock of your divine breakthrough. But the power of these steps lies in how you approach them. Don't rush through them out of obligation. Approach them with intention, as if you're planting seeds in a garden that heaven itself will water. When you write that goal, don't just scribble it down. Picture it as a scroll you're presenting to Jesus, each word infused with faith. When you make that call or send that message, imagine your words carrying light, breaking chains in someone else's heart. And when you take that first step on your project, see it as a cornerstone laid in the foundation of your prosperous life. These actions are your partnership with heaven, your way of saying, "Jesus, I trust your urgent call." Now, let's talk about the atmosphere around you. You've felt it shifting, haven't you? Maybe it's a subtle peace that lingers longer than usual, or a boldness rising in your chest when you think about your dreams. That's not your imagination. It's the Holy Spirit moving, rearranging your circumstances to align with God's plan. Picture a divine conductor, orchestrating a symphony of favor, resources, and opportunity. Every note is perfectly timed, every instrument tuned to the melody of your destiny. The fears that once drowned out this music are fading, replaced by a rhythm of abundance and clarity. Jesus is saying, "Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." John 14:27. Your spiritual awakening is unfolding, not in some distant future, but in the choices you make today. Consider another story to anchor this truth. There was a man named Daniel, a warehouse worker in Atlanta, who lived paycheck to paycheck, haunted by a fear of failure that kept him from pursuing his passion for photography. He'd take photos on his phone during breaks, capturing moments of beauty in the mundane: sunlight on a cracked sidewalk, a child's laugh in the park. But fear told him he wasn't good enough, that he'd never make it in a competitive world. One day, after a particularly tough shift, he prayed, "Jesus, if this dream is from you, give me a sign." The next week, a co-worker saw one of his photos on social media and shared it with a local gallery owner. That single share led to an exhibition, then clients, and within a year, Daniel was running a photography business that supported his family. His fear of failure became the spark that ignited his divine purpose, all because he trusted Jesus' call to keep moving forward. Daniel's story isn't just inspiration, it's a mirror for your own. The fears you're carrying, whether they're about money, relationships, or your dreams, are not walls. They're bridges, leading you to the financial freedom and personal transformation Jesus has promised. You might be thinking, but my situation is different. My fears are bigger, my obstacles heavier. Jesus sees that. He knows the weight of your bills, the sting of rejection, the ache of unfulfilled dreams, and he's saying, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. Your rest isn't just peace of mind. It's the confidence that your needs are already met in heaven's economy, that your destiny is already funded by divine provision. Let's dive into what this divine provision looks like. It's not just about money, though wealth creation is part of it. It's about ideas that spark in your mind at 3 a.m., connections that feel too perfect to be random, opportunities that land in your lap without striving. Imagine a treasure chest buried in your soul, filled with gifts God placed there before you were born. Creativity, resilience, wisdom. Every fear you've faced has been a shovel, digging deeper to unearth that treasure. When you take those 3 steps, you're not just acting, you're claiming what's already yours. You're saying, "I'm done with scarcity. I'm ready for overflow." And heaven responds, "The Lord will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your hand in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand." Deuteronomy 28:12. But here's a truth we don't often talk about. Stepping into your divine purpose means letting go of what no longer fits. Picture yourself carrying a heavy backpack, stuffed with old fears, grudges, and limiting beliefs. It's weighed you down, slowed your steps, kept you from running toward your destiny. Jesus is calling you to set it down, not because those things aren't real, but because they're not yours to carry anymore. Maybe it's a relationship that drains you, a job that suffocates your soul, or a mindset that says you'll never be enough. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making space for the abundance Jesus has prepared. It means trusting that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Philippians 1:6. This act of release is where your faith journey becomes a testimony. When you let go of fear, you create room for favor. When you release resentment, you invite divine connections. When you stop clinging to survival, you step into a prosperous life. Imagine a tree shedding its dead leaves in autumn, not out of loss, but to make way for new growth in spring. That's you right now, chosen one. Jesus is pruning your life, not to harm you, but to prepare you for a harvest of overflowing blessings. Your 3 steps: writing that goal, reaching out, starting that project, are the first fruits of that harvest, proof that you're aligning with heaven's rhythm. If this message is igniting a fire in your spirit, let it shine. Type, "I am claiming my divine provision" in the comments below. Let your words be a beacon, joining countless others who are answering Jesus' urgent call. Your comment is a signal to heaven, a bold yes to the wealth creation, clarity, and breakthrough waiting for you. But what if the next step you take unlocks a door you never knew existed, leading to a destiny so bright it silences every fear you've ever faced. Stay with me, because Jesus' call is about to reveal the power you've carried all along. Chosen one, you're standing at a divine crossroads, where the urgent call of Jesus is not just a whisper, but a thunderous invitation to claim the power within you. Picture a spark deep in your soul, glowing brighter with every word you're hearing, ready to ignite a fire that will light up your path to destiny. This isn't about chasing dreams. It's about awakening to the truth that you've been carrying a divine blueprint all along, one that fear has tried to bury, but Jesus is now unveiling. Your life is not a series of random events. It's a carefully woven tapestry, each thread of struggle, hope, and faith leading you to this moment of spiritual awakening. The fears that once felt like anchors are now becoming stepping stones, guiding you toward a prosperous life filled with purpose and abundance. Let's anchor this in a new truth. Your power lies in your ability to trust Jesus' timing. Imagine a golden hourglass, its sands flowing not by chance but by divine design. Every grain represents a moment you thought was wasted. Every rejection, every delay, every time you felt overlooked. But Jesus sees those grains differently. To him, they're moments of preparation, building a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of your divine purpose. He's saying, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29:11. Your 3 steps: writing that goal, reaching out to someone, starting that project, are not just actions. They're acts of trust, aligning your rhythm with heaven's perfect timing. Now let's talk about the people around you. You've noticed shifts, haven't you? Some relationships feel heavier, while others seem to spark with new life. This isn't random, it's divine alignment. Picture a garden where Jesus, the master gardener, is tending to your life. Some plants, relationships, habits, environments are being uprooted because their season is over. Others are being planted, ready to bloom with support, encouragement, and shared purpose. The fear of losing people or being misunderstood has held you back, but Jesus is calling you to release that fear. Your divine provision doesn't depend on who stays or who leaves. It depends on your willingness to trust him. As you take those 3 steps, you're not just moving forward. You're inviting the right people into your story. Those who will walk with you toward a breakthrough. Let's make this real with another story. Meet Aisha, a graphic designer in Chicago who spent years trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. She feared her work wasn't good enough, that her ideas would be rejected. So she stayed in a soul-crushing job, designing ads she didn't believe in. Her fear wasn't just about failure. It was about being seen, about risking her heart. One evening, after a particularly draining day, she prayed, "Jesus, show me who I'm meant to be." The next morning, she felt a nudge to share one of her personal designs on social media, something she'd kept hidden for years. That single post caught the eye of a non-profit looking for a rebrand. Within weeks, Aisha was freelancing for causes she cared about, her income doubling and her confidence soaring. Her fear of being seen became the gateway to her personal transformation, all because she trusted Jesus' call to take a small, brave step. Aisha's story reflects your own potential. The fears you're carrying, fear of rejection, of stepping out, of being vulnerable, are not barriers. They're invitations to lean into Jesus' strength. Your 3 steps are your way of saying, "I'm ready to be seen, to be used, to walk in my divine purpose." And as you move, heaven is moving with you. Imagine a divine wind at your back, carrying you toward opportunities you couldn't have planned. That job you wrote down as a goal, it might lead to a connection that changes everything. That person you reached out to, they might hold a key to your next season. That project you started, it might be the seed of a legacy that outlives you. Jesus is saying, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, Colossians 3:23. Let's shift to a deeper layer, your identity. Fear has tried to define you, hasn't it? It's whispered lies that you're not enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough. But Jesus is rewriting that narrative. Picture a royal decree, sealed with heaven's authority, declaring who you really are: chosen, anointed, destined for greatness. Your fears don't define you, your faith does. Every time you choose to act despite fear, writing that goal, making that call, starting that project, you're reclaiming your true identity. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're a vessel of divine power, created to shine in a world that desperately needs your light. As Jesus said, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Matthew 5:14. This truth changes how you move through the world. Imagine walking into a room, not shrinking to fit in, but standing tall, knowing you carry heaven's backing. Your 3 steps are your training ground for this confidence. When you write that goal, you're not just planning, you're declaring your worth. When you reach out, you're not just connecting, you're building bridges of faith. When you start that project, you're not just creating, you're co-creating with Jesus. These actions are reshaping your mindset, moving you from scarcity to abundance, from doubt to divine assurance. Your prosperous life isn't a distant dream. It's a reality you're stepping into with every act of obedience. If this message is stirring your heart, let it resonate. Type, "I am walking in my divine identity" in the comments below. Let your words be a testimony, joining thousands of chosen ones who are embracing their faith journey with boldness. Your comment is a sacred act, a signal to heaven that you're ready for the wealth creation, clarity, and overflowing blessings Jesus has prepared. But what if the power you're discovering within you is about to unlock a season of miracles so undeniable that even your fears bow before them? Stay with me, because Jesus' urgent call is leading you to a revelation that will change everything. Chosen one. You're now walking a path where every step resonates with divine intention, as if heaven itself is echoing your movements. Jesus' urgent call is not just pulling you forward, it's awakening a deeper awareness of the spiritual authority you carry. Picture a crown, invisible to the world but radiant in the spirit, placed upon your head by the Savior himself. This crown isn't made of gold or jewels. It's forged from your faith, your resilience, and your willingness to answer his call despite the fears that tried to hold you back. Your 3 steps, writing that goal, reaching out to someone, starting that project, are not just actions. They're declarations of your royal identity, proof that you're stepping into the divine purpose Jesus has been preparing you for all along. The fears that once loomed large are shrinking in the light of this truth, and what's emerging is a version of you that walks with unshakable confidence, ready to claim the abundance and personal transformation waiting on the other side. Let's explore this spiritual authority further. You've been conditioned to see yourself as small, to measure your worth by the world's standards, your bank account, your job title, the approval of others. But Jesus is shifting your perspective. Imagine a vast throne room, its walls shimmering with light, where he sits and calls you by name, saying, "You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people." Verses 1 to 2:9. Your authority doesn't come from what you've achieved. It comes from who you belong to. When you wrote that goal, you weren't just planning, you were exercising your God-given right to dream boldly. When you reached out, you weren't just communicating, you were wielding the power to heal and restore. When you started that project, you weren't just creating, you were partnering with heaven to bring something eternal into the earth. These steps are your first acts of reining in the prosperous life Jesus has promised. Now, let's talk about the resistance you might be feeling. As you step into this authority, you may notice pushback, doubts creeping in, unexpected obstacles, or even people questioning your boldness. This isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. It's confirmation you're on the right one. Picture a warrior, armored in light, standing firm against a storm. The winds howl, but they cannot move her because her strength comes from a source greater than the storm itself. That's you, chosen one. Jesus is saying, in the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. John 16:33. Your 3 steps are your armor, fortifying you against resistance. Every time you act in faith, you're building a spiritual fortress, a place where fear cannot dwell and abundance flows freely. To make this tangible, let's share another story. There was a man named Javier, a carpenter in a small Texas town, who lived with a fear of change. He'd spent years in the same workshop, crafting furniture for clients who barely paid on time, afraid to raise his prices or pursue bigger contracts. The fear of losing stability kept him stuck, even though he dreamed of designing custom pieces for galleries. One Sunday, after hearing a sermon about courage, he prayed, "Jesus, if you want more for me, show me how to start." The next day, he felt a nudge to email a local art gallery with photos of his work, something he'd avoided for years. To his shock, the gallery owner responded within hours, inviting him to showcase his pieces. That single email led to a contract that tripled his income and opened doors to clients across the state. Javier's fear of change became the catalyst for his breakthrough. All because he trusted Jesus' call to act. Javier's story is a reminder that your fears are not your masters. They're your servants, pointing you to the places where Jesus is ready to move. Your 3 steps are your way of harnessing that fear, turning it into fuel for your faith journey. When you write that goal, you're telling fear, "You don't control my dreams." When you reach out, you're telling fear, "You don't control my relationships." When you start that project, you're telling fear, "You don't control my destiny." Each step is a victory, a moment where you choose Jesus' authority over the enemy's lies. And with every victory, you're stepping deeper into the divine provision that's been waiting for you. A life of wealth creation, clarity, and overflowing blessings. Let's shift to the vision Jesus is planting in your heart. You've had dreams, haven't you? Ideas that spark in quiet moments, visions of a life bigger than the one you're living now. Maybe it's a business that impacts thousands, a ministry that heals hearts, or a creative project that inspires the world. Fear has told you those dreams are too big, too risky, too far out of reach. But Jesus is saying, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. Habakkuk chapter 2. Your 3 steps are the first lines of that vision, the opening strokes of a masterpiece heaven is painting through you. As you act, you're not just dreaming, you're building, laying bricks in the foundation of a legacy that will outlast you. Imagine a canvas stretching across the heavens, each of your actions adding vibrant colors to a picture only Jesus can fully see. Your goal is a stroke of gold, shimmering with possibility. Your outreach is a splash of blue, deepening connections with divine purpose. Your project is a burst of red, pulsing with passion and creativity. This canvas isn't abstract, it's your life, your prosperous life, taking shape with every choice you make. The fears that tried to blur this picture are fading, replaced by a clarity that makes your heart race with excitement. Jesus is calling you to keep painting, to keep trusting, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. verse John 4. As you move forward, you notice something extraordinary. Your actions are creating ripples. Your goal isn't just for you, it's inspiring someone else to dream. Your outreach isn't just healing a relationship, it's planting seeds of hope in another's heart. Your project isn't just a beginning, it's a beacon, drawing others to their own divine purpose. Picture a stone dropped into a still lake, its ripples spreading far beyond the point of impact. That's your life right now, chosen one. Jesus is using your obedience to shift atmospheres, to break generational curses, to unlock doors for people you may never meet. Your spiritual awakening is not solitary, it's communal, a movement of faith that's changing the world one step at a time. If this truth is setting your spirit ablaze, let it shine. Type, "I am building my divine legacy," in the comments below. Let your words be a light, joining thousands of chosen ones who are embracing their authority and stepping into their breakthrough. Your comment is a sacred vow, a declaration that you're ready for the financial freedom, purpose, and divine provision Jesus has promised. But what if the vision you're carrying is about to collide with a divine opportunity so precise it could only be orchestrated by heaven? Stay with me, because Jesus' urgent call is leading you to a moment that will redefine your future. Chosen one, you're now stepping into a divine current, a flow so powerful it carries you beyond the limits of your fears and into the heart of your God-given destiny. Jesus' urgent call is like a mighty river, sweeping away the debris of doubt and revealing a path sparkling with promise. Picture yourself standing on the banks of this river, your feet touching sacred waters that shimmer with the light of heaven. The 3 steps you've taken, writing that goal, reaching out to someone, starting that project, are not just actions. They're your entry into this current, your bold agreement to move with the rhythm of divine purpose. Your fears, once towering walls, are now pebbles beneath the waves. Insignificant in the face of the spiritual awakening Jesus is igniting within you. This is your moment to trust that every step you take is leading you to a prosperous life, where abundance and personal transformation are not dreams but realities unfolding before your eyes. Let's dive into the significance of this divine current. It's not just about where you're going, it's about who you're becoming. Imagine a chrysalis, its delicate shell cracking open to reveal a butterfly, wings vibrant with colors the world has never seen. That's you, chosen one, emerging from the cocoon of fear and limitation into the fullness of your divine identity. Your 3 steps are the cracks in that shell, each one releasing a part of you that's been hidden too long. When you wrote that goal, you weren't just planning, you were unveiling your courage. When you reached out, you weren't just connecting, you were revealing your heart. When you started that project, you weren't just creating, you were displaying your faith. Jesus is saying, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Corinthians 5:17, your transformation is a testimony, a living proof that fear cannot hold back what heaven has ordained. Now, let's talk about the opportunities on the horizon. You've sensed them, haven't you? Those moments that feel like whispers of possibility. A chance encounter, an unexpected idea, a door slightly ajar. These aren't coincidences, they're divine appointments, orchestrated by Jesus to meet you in this season of breakthrough. Picture a golden thread weaving through your life, connecting every step you take to the people, resources, and moments that will propel you forward. Your 3 steps are your way of grabbing that thread, of saying, I'm ready for the divine provision you've prepared. As you move, Jesus promises, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. Matthew 7:7. Your actions are your asking, your seeking, your knocking, and heaven is responding with opportunities that will astonish you. To ground this, let's share another story. There was a woman named Lila, a schoolteacher in Seattle, who lived with a fear of speaking her truth. She had a vision to start a podcast about mental health and faith, but the fear of criticism kept her silent. She worried her voice wouldn't matter, that her story wasn't unique enough. One night, feeling defeated, she prayed, "Jesus, if this is your will, give me the courage to begin." The next day, at a parent-teacher conference, a parent mentioned they worked for a local radio station and were looking for new voices. Leela felt a nudge to share her podcast idea, despite her fear. That conversation led to a mentorship, then a guest spot on a show, and within a year, her podcast was reaching thousands, offering hope to those struggling in silence. Her fear of being unheard became the spark for her divine purpose, all because she trusted Jesus' call to act. Lila's story mirrors your own potential. The opportunities Jesus is bringing aren't just for your comfort, they're for your calling. Your 3 steps are your preparation, tuning your spirit to recognize and seize these moments. When you wrote that goal, you were setting your intention, aligning your desires with heaven's plan. When you reached out, you were opening your heart, making space for divine connections. When you started that project, you were stepping into action, proving you're ready for the wealth creation and clarity Jesus has promised. These steps are your training, teaching you to move with discernment, to see every opportunity as a gift from the Savior, who never stops working on your behalf. Let's explore the impact of your actions. Your steps aren't just personal, they're generational. Picture a tree, its roots stretching deep into the earth, its branches reaching toward the sky. Your faith, your obedience, your courage to act despite fear. These are the roots, anchoring a legacy that will shade generations to come. When you take those 3 steps, you're not just changing your life, you're breaking cycles of lack, fear, and limitation that have held your family or community captive. You're planting seeds of abundance, faith, and purpose that will grow long after you're gone. Jesus is saying, "The righteous man walks in his integrity, his children are blessed after him." Proverbs 27. Your prosperous life is a gift to the world, a testament to what happens when one person answers Jesus' urgent call. This generational impact adds a new layer to your 3 steps. When you write that goal, you're not just dreaming for yourself, you're setting a standard for those watching you, showing them what faith looks like. When you reach out, you're not just healing a relationship, you're modeling reconciliation for others to follow. When you start that project, you're not just creating, you're inspiring others to pursue their own divine purpose. Imagine your actions as ripples in a pond, spreading outward to touch lives you may never meet. Your obedience is a catalyst, sparking hope, courage, and transformation in others. Your spiritual awakening is not just yours. It's a movement, a wave of faith that Jesus is using to shift the world. As you move forward, you'll notice a shift in your perspective. Fear once clouded your vision, making every challenge seem insurmountable. But now, with each step, your eyes are opening to the possibilities Jesus has placed before you. Picture a veil lifting, revealing a landscape of hope, opportunity, and divine provision. Your 3 steps are your way of walking through that veil, of choosing to see the world through the lens of faith rather than fear. Jesus is saying, "Open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest." John 4:35. Your actions are your harvest, gathering the blessings heaven has sown into your life. This new perspective changes how you approach challenges. Where you once saw obstacles, you now see opportunities to trust Jesus deeper. A delayed response to your outreach? It's a chance to practice patience, knowing heaven's timing is perfect. A setback in your project? It's an invitation to rely on divine wisdom, trusting that all things are possible with God. Mark 10:27. Even your goal, which may feel daunting, is a canvas for Jesus to paint miracles. Your 3 steps are teaching you to live with expectancy, to wake each morning knowing that today could be the day. An opportunity arrives, a door opens, or a dream takes root. Your faith journey is becoming a story of triumph, a living proof that Jesus' call is always worth answering. If this message is stirring a fire in your soul, let it blaze. Type, "I am walking in divine opportunity" in the comments below. Let your words be a declaration, joining thousands of chosen ones who are seizing their breakthrough with bold faith. Your comment is a sacred act, a signal to heaven that you're ready for the financial freedom, purpose, and overflowing blessings Jesus has prepared. But what if the next opportunity you seize is the key to a season of miracles so profound it redefines your entire story? Stay with me, because Jesus' urgent call is about to reveal a truth that will set your spirit free. Chosen one, you're now moving in a divine rhythm, where every heartbeat aligns with the pulse of heaven's purpose. Jesus' urgent call is not just a moment. It's a melody, a sacred song that's been playing in your soul since the day you were formed. Picture a vast orchestra, with Jesus as the conductor, raising his hands to bring every note of your life into harmony. Your 3 steps: writing that goal, reaching out to someone, starting that project, are your instruments, each one playing a part in the symphony of your spiritual awakening. The fears that once drowned out this music are fading, replaced by a crescendo of faith, hope, and divine provision. You're not just walking toward a prosperous life, you're dancing in it. Your every move a testament to the power of answering Jesus' call. Let's deepen this truth. Your actions are not isolated. They're interconnected, weaving a story that heaven is writing through you. Imagine a tapestry, its threads shimmering with colors of courage, obedience, and trust. Each of your 3 steps adds a new thread, strengthening the fabric of your divine purpose. When you wrote that goal, you wove a strand of vision, declaring that your dreams matter. When you reached out, you added a thread of connection, binding your heart to others in faith. When you started that project, you stitched in a thread of action, proving that your faith is alive. Jesus is saying faith without works is dead. James 2 verse 26. And your steps are the living proof that your faith is vibrant, ready to unlock a season of overflowing blessings. Now let's talk about the unseen forces at work. You've felt them, haven't you? Those moments when a sudden peace washes over you, or an idea sparks so clearly it feels like a gift. These are not random. They're the fingerprints of heaven, evidence that Jesus is moving behind the scenes. Picture angels dispatched from the throne room, clearing paths you haven't yet walked, aligning resources you haven't yet touched. Your 3 steps are your agreement with this divine orchestration, your way of saying, "I trust you, Jesus, to lead me to my breakthrough." As you move, he promises, "I will go before you and make the crooked places straight." Isaiah 45:2. Your obedience is the key that opens doors you didn't even know existed, leading you to a life of wealth creation and personal transformation. To make this real, let's share another story. There was a young man named Marcus, a barista in Denver, who carried a fear of rejection that kept him from pursuing his dream of writing music. He'd scribble lyrics in a notebook during breaks, but the thought of sharing them with the world felt paralyzing. One evening, after a long shift, he prayed, Jesus, if this gift is from you, give me the strength to use it. The next day, a regular customer, a music producer, noticed Marcus humming a tune and asked if he wrote songs. Hesitant but nudged by faith, Marcus shared a few lyrics. That conversation led to a collaboration, then a recording deal, and within a year Marcus's music was streaming on platforms worldwide, touching hearts with messages of hope. His fear of rejection became the doorway to his divine purpose, all because he trusted Jesus' call to take a risk. Marcus's story is a mirror for your own journey. The opportunities Jesus is bringing aren't just for your gain, they're for His glory, designed to shine through you and touch the world. Your 3 steps are your way of stepping into this spotlight, of letting your light shine without fear. When you wrote that goal, you weren't just dreaming, you were claiming your role in God's story. When you reached out, you weren't just connecting, you were extending heaven's love. When you started that project, you weren't just acting, you were building a platform for Jesus to move. These steps are your declaration that you're ready for the financial freedom and divine provision He's promised, ready to live a life that radiates His power. Let's shift to the power of your voice. Fear has tried to silence you, hasn't it? It's told you your words don't matter, that your ideas won't be heard, that your story isn't worth telling. But Jesus is rewriting that lie. Picture a trumpet. Its sound clear and bold, cutting through the noise of the world. That's your voice, chosen one, anointed to speak life, to shift atmospheres, to call forth what heaven has already declared. Your 3 steps are your training to use this voice. When you write that goal, you're speaking possibility into existence. When you reach out, you're speaking healing into relationships. When you start that project, you're speaking purpose into reality. Jesus is saying, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has anointed me to preach good tidings." Luke 4:18. Your voice, aligned with His, is a force that can break chains and open doors. This voice isn't just for you, it's for others. Your actions are sending a message to those around you, showing them what it looks like to live with faith over fear. Imagine your life as a lighthouse, its beam piercing the darkness, guiding others to safety. Your 3 steps are the light, shining through the fog of doubt and despair. When you act in faith, you're not just transforming your life, you're inspiring others to do the same. Your goal might encourage a friend to pursue their own dreams. Your outreach might show someone the power of forgiveness. Your project might spark a movement that changes lives. Jesus is using you to be a beacon, a living testament to His promise that those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. As you embrace this role, you'll notice a shift in your confidence. Fear once made you hesitate, second-guess, shrink back. But now, with each step, you're standing taller, speaking bolder, dreaming wilder. Picture a warrior, once timid, now gripping a sword forged in heaven's fire, ready to face any challenge. That's you, chosen one, armed with the strength of Jesus' call. Your 3 steps are your training ground, teaching you to wield this confidence not with arrogance but with grace. When you face a setback, you'll no longer see failure, you'll see a chance to trust deeper. When you encounter doubt, you'll no longer shrink, you'll speak truth. When you meet opportunity, you'll no longer hesitate, you'll seize it, knowing Jesus has gone before you. This confidence is magnetic, drawing the right people and resources into your life. Imagine a field, golden and ripe, ready for harvest. Your 3 steps are the sickle, gathering the blessings Jesus has planted. That goal you wrote? It's attracting ideas and opportunities that align with your vision. That outreach? It's drawing divine connections, people who see your light and honor it. That project? It's pulling resources, favor, and clarity into your path. Jesus is saying, "The Lord will command the blessing on you in your storehouses, and in all to which you set your hand. Deuteronomy 28:8. Your actions are creating a divine pull, a force that brings